One Night Stand with the Devil, a story by Loveafricanstories. God, please help me, I cried, my voice echoing through the cold, endless halls of the mansion. I was barefoot, my legs trembling as I ran blindly, crashing into walls that felt like they were caving in on me. I didn't know where the gate was. I just knew I had to escape. Then it happened. A hand gripped me. Tight. Strong. Unforgiving. I turned around, and my blood ran cold. Maxwell. The man I thought I knew gone. In his place was someone terrifying. His once charming face was twisted with rage, his eyes wild, burning with something far darker, hate. Where do you think you're going? He snarled, dragging me by my clothes like I was nothing but a rag doll. Please. I begged, struggling. Please let me go. I don't want this anymore. I made a mistake. But he didn't care. He flung me onto the bed with terrifying strength, laughing. Not just any laugh, it was loud, distorted, the kind that chills your bones and makes you wonder if you're still in the real world. I froze. Please. I sobbed again. I don't want this anymore. I just want to go home. Maxwell laughed again, a wicked, almost inhuman sound, and leaned close to my face. You think you can just walk away, he whispered. We're just getting started. You haven't even done what you were brought here for. My heart skipped a beat. Before I could ask what he meant, he reached into his pocket, pulled out his phone, and dialed a number. He turned slightly, his voice calm, too calm. It's time. Bring it in. I stared at him, frozen. What are you talking about? Bring what in? Maxwell ended the call, then looked at me with a twisted smile. Relax. You'll see for yourself, he said, settling into a chair like he was waiting for a show to start. Moments later, the door creaked open. A man stepped in, someone I'd never seen before. And in his hands was a wooden box. He held it carefully, like it was sacred. Or cursed. My chest tightened. I didn't want to know what was inside. But I could sense it was something very dangerous. Something evil. What have I gotten myself into? How did I end up here? As I lay there, trembling, the memories came rushing back, how I met Maxwell, how he lured me in, and how I made the worst decision of my life. My name is Sophia, and this is the story of how I met Maxwell, the man who led me to my doom. After secondary school, I started hustling, working in shops, saving every naira I could. My dream was simple: go to university and give my family a better life. We weren't poor, just average. My father used to be our backbone, until tragedy struck. Years of battling eye problems eventually stole his sight. And from that moment, everything changed. He could no longer work. And my once loving mother, Mrs. Monica, became someone else. The warmth in our home disappeared. She nagged, yelled, insulted him every day for being useless. My younger sister and I just watched in silence, bitter, helpless. You didn't talk back to our mother. She was a lioness no one dared challenge. Then, out of nowhere, she opened a beer parlor. To this day, I still don't know where the money came from. But the business took off. We had food. Bills got paid. But it came with a price. The insults to my father, they became worse. I worked with her, serving pepper soup and drinks to mostly rowdy men. My sister stayed home to care for our blind father. Slowly, I became a target. Some men wanted love. Most wanted lust. And instead of shielding me, my mother encouraged it. My mother bought me tight, flashy clothes that showed off my curves. Whenever a rich man came around, she smiled wide and whispered, Sophia, no dull yourself. Use what you have. Collect money from any man that falls for you. It disgusted me. But I had no choice. I kept quiet. Then he came, Maxwell. Tall. Calm. Handsome. The guy who supplied crates of drinks to our shop. At first, he would deliver and leave, barely saying a word. But slowly, he began to linger. A bowl of pepper soup here, a smile there. Soon, he started cracking quiet jokes while I served him. Unlike the others, Maxwell didn't look at me like a prize to be won. He looked at me like I was human. My mother noticed. Sophia, she asked one evening, what's going on between you and that drink supplier? Who? Maxwell? I replied, surprised. Don't act like you don't know, she smirked. If he likes you, give him a chance. That guy's a hustler. Treat him right, and he might start supplying drinks on credit or even dash me some free crates. Mummy. I laughed uneasily. You just want to use me to collect drinks. She stared at me coldly. Your father is blind. Useless. I'm the one struggling. Help me out for once. I didn't answer. Maxwell kept coming. Shy but consistent. One day, he finally asked me out. I said yes. And just like that, I found something close to peace in his presence. When I told him my dream of going to university, he didn't laugh. He nodded. You will go, he said. I thought it was just sweet talk, until he showed up with a jam form. I was speechless. Even my mother was impressed. The same woman who encouraged me to chase wealthy men suddenly began calling him my in-law. But my father, when I told him Maxwell wanted to sponsor me, he smiled at first. Then his expression changed. My daughter, he said, did you promise him anything in return? No, Papa, I said. He promised not to touch me till marriage. Are you sure you'll marry him after all this? Yes, Papa. I love him, I replied without thinking twice. He sighed. I wish I wasn't blind, maybe I'd be the one protecting you, not another man. Eventually, I got admission to study marketing. And through it all, Maxwell never laid a hand on me. I was still a virgin. His business wasn't booming, but he gave me all he could. My mother. She celebrated, but for the wrong reasons. As I prepared to leave for school, my mother gave me a small bag filled with new clothes, tight jeans, crop tops, short dresses. I looked at her, confused. Mummy, what's all this? She smiled slowly. You're going to university. Rich boys, big men, lecturers with deep pockets. Shine your eyes. Maxwell has tried. But when you see bigger fish, don't be a mew-mew. My chest tightened. What? After everything he's done for us? She shrugged. He's a stepping stone. You can't marry a drink supplier. Use your sense, Sophia. Maxwell was the one who took me to the park the day I was leaving for the university. We held hands tightly, promising never to cheat, never to leave each other no matter what life threw at us. He stood there watching as the bus pulled away, and as I looked back one last time, I saw it, fear in his eyes. A silent fear. One he didn't say out loud. After a long journey, I arrived at my university. That was how my school life began. My roommate turned out to be a blessing, focused, driven, and encouraging. She reminded me why I came to school in the first place. I buried myself in my books, knowing the sacrifices it took to get me there. Every day, Maxwell and I talked on the phone. He never missed a chance to tell me how much he loved me, how he couldn't wait to marry me. Sometimes, he even traveled all the way down just to see me. Our bond felt unbreakable, a love no one could destroy. But university life was different. There were distractions. Handsome boys. Smooth talkers. Yahoo boys flashing money. Rich kids offering gifts. Promises. Friendship. Connections. They came like a flood, relentless and tempting. But I stood my ground. I knew where I came from. And I knew who held my heart. My mother, on the other hand, was a different story. She would call, but instead of asking about my studies, she'd say, Sophia, my daughter, any new catch yet? I would pretend not to hear. Catch? What do you mean, Mama? Don't play smart with me. You're in a university full of rich men. You should have found one by now. Someone that will take us out of this poverty. Mama, take it easy. What about Maxwell? He's trying his best. I love him. That's when her tone changed. Love? That boy hasn't told you, has he? Told me what? His shop is almost empty. The company has refused to supply him more drinks because of the months he's owing. It's not easy for him anymore. Things are not the way they used to be. Silence. I couldn't breathe. My heart raced. How? When? I stammered. Sophia, open your eyes. That boy is sinking. You need someone who can help you and us. I ended the call in shock and immediately dialed Maxwell. Maxwell, what's happening? Why didn't you tell me this? He paused. His voice was low. I didn't want to burden you, my love. Yes, business has been slow. The company has stopped supplying drinks because I owe them. It's been hard. I sat there frozen, phone in hand. But I'm not giving up, he added. I promised to support you till you graduate, and I meant it. Just give me time. We talked for hours, and I encouraged him, holding back tears. But deep down, I knew the pressure was about to get worse. After weeks of stressful exams, I finally packed my bags and traveled home to visit my parents and of course, Maxwell. My love. My everything. But when I got to his shop, my heart sank. The once booming drink business that made everyone envy him was now a shadow of itself. The shelves were nearly empty. The crates stacked at the back gone. Just a few drinks sat on display like forgotten promises. He smiled when he saw me, but it was forced. Behind that smile, I saw it, sadness. Worry. It wasn't just on his face. It was written all over him. The next day, I went to help my mother at her restaurant. I expected to see the same old corner spot, but I was shocked. She had upgraded to a bigger space, filled with customers laughing, eating, and praising her pepper soup. That's when I noticed a man sitting with her. Clean. Bold. Expensive watch. They talked and laughed for long, too long. I acted like I didn't see. Later that night, she came into my room, smiling. Sophia. I want to talk to you. What is it, Mum? Did you see the man I was talking to today? I stayed silent. Stop pretending. His name is Victor. He likes you. A lot. And he wants to marry you. My mother wouldn't stop pressuring me to give Victor a chance. To her, Maxwell's failing business was reason enough to let go. Just open your eyes, Sophia, she kept saying. Maxwell has nothing left to offer. But Victor. He's serious about you. One day Victor showed up at our house, invited, of course, by my mother. He didn't come empty-handed. Bags of foodstuffs, wrapped gifts, and a fat envelope filled with cash all for me. My mother was overjoyed. She couldn't stop praising him. Ah, see how thoughtful he is. This is the kind of man we need in this family, she kept saying. Victor smiled and turned to me. Mama, I truly love your daughter. I'm ready to sponsor her all the way to her master's level. Just give me the chance to prove myself. I looked him in the eyes, boldly and without hesitation. I'm not interested, Victor, I said sharply. My mother should have told you I already have someone I love. Suddenly, the atmosphere in the room shifted. My mother's cheerful expression vanished. Her face hardened. Victor, please give us a moment, she said, forcing a smile. Then she grabbed my hand and dragged me into the bedroom. Her voice shook with anger. Sophie, are you trying to ruin everything I've worked for? Can't you see how far I've come with this man's help? Even my shop has grown all thanks to him. You want to repay all my suffering by chasing after that broke boy, Maxwell? She was trying to guilt-trip me again. I stood there, torn between the woman who raised me and the man I loved. I didn't want to hurt her, but I wasn't ready to betray Maxwell either. We returned to the sitting room, pretending everything was normal. Before Victor left, he asked for my number. I gave it to him, hesitantly. His face lit up like someone who had just achieved a long-awaited goal. That evening, he called. Just checking on you, he said in a soft, charming tone. He showered me with sweet words and compliments. Every call came with airtime, transfers, and caring messages. I didn't want to be rude, not because I was interested, but because I feared provoking my mother. The few weeks I spent at home, I visited Maxwell in secret. But with each visit, my heart shattered. His once thriving drink business was barely standing. Bottles were few, and shelves looked empty. He had started selling his personal belongings just to survive. A day before I went back to school, Maxwell handed me an envelope. Take this, he said, his eyes avoiding mine. I opened it and froze. No, Maxwell. You need this more than I do, I said, stunned. Sophia, he said softly, I made a promise to see you through school. You're almost done now. Please, Let me complete what I started. Tears stung my eyes. I hugged him tightly. Thank you, Maxwell. I promise not to disappoint you. Back at school, I tried to focus. It was my final year, and I needed to give it my all. But Victor wouldn't stop. He called daily. Sent money I didn't ask for. Left voice notes with sweet words. I knew my mother was behind it. Meanwhile, Maxwell was struggling. He couldn't send money anymore, and his calls became fewer. I understood, but the silence hurt. Slowly, I began to drift. Not because Victor stole my heart, but because life was whispering, survival first. One weekend, Victor visited with my permission. He didn't come alone. He arrived in style, with a luxury car and a trunk full of designer suits. My hostel mates were stunned. Who is this guy? They whispered. Wow, Sophia has upgraded. Oh. They were used to seeing Maxwell humble, with his old car and worn clothes. He didn't bring luxury, he brought loyalty. And at that moment, standing between a life of love and a future of comfort, I felt completely lost. My roommate had been watching me closely. She wasn't stupid. She noticed the steady stream of calls from Victor, his surprise visits, the way my eyes lit up when his name popped up on my phone. One evening, she pulled me aside. Don't cheat on Maxwell, she warned softly. That guy has done too much for you. Don't throw it away for gifts. I brushed her words aside. But deep down, I knew she was right. Still, the lure of luxury was powerful. Victor came with everything I once dreamed of: designer bags, sleek phones, expensive perfumes. Slowly, I found myself texting him first, then agreeing to lunch dates, then late-night hangouts. And soon, I wasn't just dating him, I was becoming someone else. My hair, my nails, my clothes, even my voice began to scream money. Maxwell and I still talked, but not like before. I masked the distance with fake cheerfulness. I became a skilled actress. After my final exams, I came back home to wait for NYSC. Maxwell came to visit me at my mother's shop. The moment he saw me, my flashy new phone, polished nails, and body-hugging dress, he froze. His eyes widened, not with admiration, but confusion, maybe even hurt. He knew something had changed. He tried to ask me about it, but I quickly changed the subject, pretending not to notice his sunken eyes and faded clothes. He looked nothing like the man I once adored, maybe because Victor's wealth had clouded my judgment. Suddenly, Maxwell felt like a ghost of my past. Days passed. I helped my mother in her shop. Victor started visiting more often, laughing and chatting with the customers like he belonged there. He made everyone feel like we were a couple. My mother, of course, was overjoyed. I could see it in her eyes, her plan was finally working. Then came my birthday. That Sunday, with a small crowd watching, Victor knelt before me and brought out a glittering ring. My heart skipped. Marry me, Sophia. The world paused. A storm of memories rushed through my head: Maxwell's sacrifices, his loyalty, our plans, but so did the perfume of luxury, the thrill of Victor, and the cheers around me. Say yes. Say yes, the voices echoed. I found myself pulling out my finger. Victor slipped the ring on, and I smiled. Everyone clapped. My mother hugged me tightly. You've made me proud, my daughter. I'm happy for you. Strangely, I couldn't remember the last time she hugged me like that. That night, sleep became my enemy. My conscience kept whispering Maxwell's name. Yes, I had grown to love Victor. But was it love, or luxury? Somehow, I drifted into sleep. By morning, I woke up to multiple missed calls and a message. Call me back, Sophia. Please. Maxwell. Panic gripped me. Did he find out? As I stared at the phone, debating whether to call or ignore him, it rang again. This time, I answered. Sophia, why? His voice cracked. He was crying. I heard the news. So it's true. After everything, you left me like this. My throat tightened. Maxwell, I'm sorry. But time isn't on my side anymore. How long should I wait for you to get back on your feet? There was silence. Then I said something that shocked even me. Victor is ready to repay everything you did for me. Maxwell gasped. You, Sophia? You said that. You'll regret this. I swear, you must regret this. That triggered something in me. Are you threatening me now? I snapped. Anger flared, and without thinking, I insulted him and hung up the call. Maxwell kept calling and texting, begging me for another chance. He came to my house, even to my mother's shop, pleading. But I was done. When my blind father heard, he tried to advise me, but I cut him off. Please, Daddy, it's Victor the first want. Let me marry the love of my life. Victor didn't delay, he rushed our wedding with money. My mother was overjoyed. I felt blessed, marrying a man who truly loved me and could provide everything. But then, Maxwell disappeared. No calls. No trace. I didn't care, I had moved on with Victor. Our wedding day came. It was grand. Victor's rich friends flooded the venue, spraying cash like rain. For months, people couldn't stop talking about it. Marriage was sweet. Victor pampered me endlessly. I had everything until life suddenly flipped. One evening, Victor got a call, his warehouse was on fire. Millions lost in a flash. While we were still grieving that loss, we were hopeful his container filled with goods was on the way. He had taken a huge loan, using our house and the warehouse as collateral, just to buy those goods in bulk. Then came the final blow, customs seized the container. Victor was devastated. He tried everything, calls, bribes, begging. Nothing worked. Soon, the pressure started. People he owed began threatening him. He started selling our properties, cars, electronics, jewelry, just to calm the storm. But it wasn't enough. He became completely broke. It felt like what happened to Maxwell was now happening to Victor. We began eating from my mother's shop. She was stunned. How did this happen so fast? At first, she helped us. Then her business started sinking too. She said, "You two must do something. Fast." We tried, but the more we fought, the worse it got. It felt like a spiritual attack. I got a teaching job, but the pay was nothing. Victor got so sick from stress that he couldn't leave the house. I became the one doing everything, feeding us, paying bills, nursing him, all with almost nothing. Months passed. Then a year. I sold everything, my clothes, my laptop, even my phone. I was back to zero. One day, I went to my mother's shop. She stared at me in silence, then said something that froze my heart. "Sophie," my mother said, "don't you think it's time to leave that marriage?" I looked at her, shocked. "You said what? You're still young and beautiful, but look at you, tired, older than your age. My business is struggling, your father is sick, and Victor, he's just lying there, draining you." "No, Mama. Please don't say that. I can't leave my husband." But she wasn't done. "Just come to my shop. You'll meet someone better, someone richer. Think about it," she said, smiling like she already had a plan. That night, I sat beside Victor. He was weak, sick, helpless. I stared at him, and I couldn't sleep. By morning, I made my decision. I started packing my bags. Victor sat up slowly. "Sophie, please don't go. Things will get better, soon." "Your soon has no date," I said coldly. "Let your family come and take care of you now." I walked out and didn't look back. At my mother's house, she was excited. "Everything will fall into place now," she said. She took me to the market the next day, bought some cheap tight clothes and a small phone. "They'll bring out your curves," she said. "Men won't resist you." I didn't argue. I was too broken to care. I started working in her shop, serving customers, getting touched, receiving tips, then sleeping with some of them. All to make my mother happy. All for survival. One afternoon, a black expensive car stopped in front of our shop. A man with dreadlocks and tattoos stepped out. The moment I saw him, my heart skipped. "Jesus. Maxwell?" He smiled. "Yes, Sophie. It's me." I was stunned. Maxwell, the same poor man who once supplied crates of drinks to restaurants, was now rich, confident, and calm. I served him pepper soup, full of shame. But he didn't judge me. He laughed, talked, and before he left, dropped his number. "Call me anytime." When my mother returned, I rushed to her. "Mama, you won't believe who came here today, Maxwell, my ex-boyfriend. The drink supplier. He now owns a big car and looks so rich." Her eyes lit up. "Maxwell? That one? Ah. This is your chance, Sophie. He still loves you. Don't miss it. Make sure you call him." "Mama, are you serious right now? After everything that happened?" She raised her hand. "Forget the past," she said. "What matters is now." That evening, my fingers trembled as I dialed Maxwell's number. He picked up on the first ring like he'd been waiting. His voice was calm, too calm. Soft. Cool. Nothing like before. "Hello," he said gently. I hesitated. "Maxwell. I'm sorry. I'm really sorry for everything. It was my mother, she deceived me." There was silence. Then he asked, "How's your marriage?" That question hit hard. My voice cracked as I lied through tears. "Victor, he mistreated me. He hurt me." Maxwell sighed deeply, his tone full of sympathy. We talked for hours. He didn't sound angry, just distant, but kind. The next day, he kept his promise. He called again. Then he sent me money, bought me gifts, took me out on dates. It felt like a dream. He had every reason to hate me, yet he acted like none of it ever happened. Even my mother was surprised. "That's love," she told me, grinning. "You better hold him tight this time. Don't let him slip away again." With that push, I changed again. I dressed richer. New iPhone. Designer bags. Expensive gowns. Everything about me screamed Maxwell's girl. Then one night, on a late call, he invited me to his house. "I'll pick you up tomorrow," he said. I couldn't sleep. I felt like I was getting him back, for real this time. But that night, I had a dream, one I'll never forget. I saw myself falling into a deep, dark pit, and Maxwell stood above me, laughing. Not smiling, laughing. I woke up drenched in sweat. My heart was racing. I told my mother. She laughed. "It's just a dream," she said, waving it off. "But are you sure visiting him is a good idea?" I asked, hoping she'd sense my fear. "My daughter," she said, holding my chin, "make sure he takes you to bed. If you get pregnant, that's a jackpot. Maxwell is rich now. You need him to marry you." I didn't ask more questions. The next day, I slipped into the stunning red gown Maxwell had bought me, bold and beautiful. He arrived just as he promised and drove me away, but something felt wrong. Maxwell was silent, cold, distant. My heart skipped a beat. Was this really him? After hours on the road, we finally reached his mansion. It was enormous, gates like fortress walls. Suddenly, regret hit me hard. Why hadn't I waited for this moment? Inside, Maxwell led me straight to his bedroom. His smile was strange, almost cruel. As I admired the grandeur of the room, a huge snake appeared out of nowhere. I screamed. But Maxwell didn't flinch. Instead, he bowed his head and whispered, "Welcome, King Serpent." A chill ran through my bones. Something dark was unfolding. I rushed for the door, only to find the house had become a confusing labyrinth. Maxwell grabbed me, his eyes burning with fury. "You pushed me into this life," he hissed, voice cold and bitter. "You abandoned me when I was at my lowest, running to a rich man. And now, when things changed, you left him too." His lips curled into a cruel smile. "I've waited for this day, the day I would make you pay. You thought I was joking when I said you'd regret leaving me? I made a pact with the devil just to get the money, all because of you." He raised his hand, trembling with dark power. "You will pay for the pain you caused me, for everything I sacrificed and spent on you. Because of your greed," he sneered, "you forced me into a blood ritual. Now it's time to pay." Tears streamed down my face as I begged for mercy. But he was merciless. A man appeared, carrying a black suitcase. Inside was a white handkerchief. "You want money?" Maxwell spat. "Fine. But you will sleep with the king serpent to pay your debt." "No. Please, spare me," I cried. Before I could react, the handkerchief was wiped across my face. Darkness swallowed me whole. When I woke, my mother said a stranger had dropped me at our gate. I couldn't remember anything. Maxwell had stolen my memories. Nightmares haunted me. I started urinating maggots and smelling so badly that I couldn't leave the house. I had been used for a ritual. My life was finished. Sometimes, I feel like snakes are crawling inside my body, whispers echoing in the dark. Doctors found nothing wrong. Pastors said I was cursed. My mother's business collapsed. She spent everything trying to save me, then gave up. She tried tracing Maxwell with the police since he was the last person seen with me, but he had vanished without a trace. Victor's container was finally released, and in time, he recovered and moved abroad with his new wife. I regret listening to my mother. I wish I had listened to my father. I was greedy for money and pushed Maxwell into becoming who he is today. I wish I had been more patient with him or even with Victor. Maybe I wouldn't be in this mess. The pain only grows worse. Pastors tried, doctors found nothing. I have no money left for answers. My mother left me alone in this small room to suffer. Sometimes, I want to kill her for misleading me, but who would care for my blind father and young sister? In my next life, I pray never to have a mother like mine. My love for money ruined my life. The constant pain and smell in my body are unbearable. I soaked my pillow in tears daily, waiting for the day the Lord would take me. Moral lesson. Sometimes, even those we trust, like family, can mislead us when blinded by greed. Be careful whose advice you follow and never let money control your life. If you enjoyed this story, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel for more gripping stories.